live, laugh.
How's it going, everybody? This is Daniel. You are watching or listening to Live, Laugh, Lariat, and we are joined by the very talented, the Slim Reaper of the UgleeGang. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, Zay Vega, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. Well, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Super excited to have you on. I feel like I'm located in the center of the state, and we were just talking about how in North Carolina, like, it's so big, but like you're doing things big on like towards the Charlotte area, and I'd love to see you in this area more. But definitely want more people to know about you in this area too. So excited to have you on.
Absolutely. I've been waiting for this one, man. This is a big one for me.
Awesome. Well, happy to hear it. Where can everybody find you on social media? Is there anywhere that people can get merch, all that good stuff?
So social media, mainly Facebook. You just look up Zay Vega. Should be the first one to pop up for you. Instagram, Zay Vega _UG. Of course, that's for the UgleeGang 57. It should be up there for as well. Just come and look me up. That's where I do all my business.
Awesome. And I see there's an elite figure next to you hanging up on the wall. Which figure is that?
So I have Brody Lee, CM Punk, and then I have the elite is Brother Love.
Okay. So big character guy.
Yeah. I've always been a story guy myself when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah, of course. Like everybody kind of gets into it for different reasons. I do have a question before we start. So North Carolina alone, there's two different reapers. There's the Carolina Reaper, then there's the Slim Reaper with yourself, and then there is also the Grim Reaper, who I don't know if are you familiar with him? He is a wrestler who smokes a joint while he wrestles.
As a matter of fact, now that you say that, yes, I didn't know that's what they call him. He's got us both beat now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, who in that match do you think would come out on top?
Oh yeah, it's definitely the Reaper guy. He's definitely going to win. How do you compete with that?
Yeah, I don't do illegal substances. I'm sure you don't do illegal substances, but I can't imagine doing illegal substances while like doing a Hurricane Rana. That seems like it would be extra difficult.
Listen, after I'm giving that Hurricane Rana, I'm walking straight out of there. What else do we need to? What else do we need to do?
Yeah, he's wrestled whole matches, so I think you might be right. I don't know if talent is him all the way, but I do think just the extracurricular activities definitely has it. But you mentioned stories with wrestling. Where does your story kind of begin when it comes to wrestling?
My story actually begins with the world shutting down for COVID-19.
As a fan or as
a fan, it's been my entire life. Literally, when everybody else was in the heroes and all that other stuff, I was watching wrestling.
What was like the first moment for you that you felt like really hooked you in?
Hogan versus Warrior.
Did you have a preference of it too?
Was the first thing that had me like, okay, my brother was a huge Hulk Hogan fan, and I was a huge Ultimate Warrior fan. So it was a defining moment for me.
Were you a Warrior fan in spite of your brother?
Yes. Yeah, it was just because I wouldn't like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. I was the same way. I was a Redskins fan for like a year and a half because my brother was a Cowboys fan as a kid, just because I wanted to root against his team. So I definitely get that. Do you have a favorite Ultimate Warrior promo, and can you repeat it for us?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I tried not to listen to the man talk because it messed up my image of what I actually like.
Yeah.
But off the top of my head, I can't even grab one. That's how you know I didn't even watch any promos back in the day. For me, was more of me and my brother practicing what we just saw in the ring on each other thing.
Yeah. Well, you weren't missing anything. I'm pretty sure that he was doing a different extracurricular activity during his matches that made him sound completely
Oh yeah,
nonsensical.
yeah. That
So
style was different. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that was the '80s where there were two different types of bumps in wrestling.
yeah. Yep. You don't know which one you're gonna take at any moment. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, was the Ultimate Warrior your first favorite wrestler, or did you kind of latch on to somebody after you kind of got drawn into that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was my. I would say Kane was my favorite wrestler. Like that
What
was the
about
first where I was like, he's my favorite.
what about Cade really made you feel that way?
The the mystery of him, the whole story before he got there,
Yeah,
the way they inched little things in there, told little pieces of the story, and I grew up in the lower environment, so we didn't get pay per views or anything.
yeah,
When I was younger, uh, I could turn to channel 99 on my TV, and
yes,
it'd be doing like this little
yeah,
radio thing. I couldn't
yeah,
see it, but I could hear it.
uh,
And I remember Kane's debut, and then watching Raw the next day and seeing who it actually was.
yeah,
And the fact that I always had the little brother syndrome as well. So the fact
yeah,
that he was a little brother too, I was like, oh yeah, that's my guy. Yeah.
yeah. So when you finally got to see Cade, did it match up with what you heard or what they kind of been leading up to, or was it something different?
Yes. Yes. So in my mind, again, my older brother, outside of Hulk Hogan, he always had like Undertaker figures.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
he always got Undertaker figures for some reason. Like he had like a little Smash and doll that was the Undertaker figure and stuff. So once I saw Kane the next day, in my mind, before I saw him, I was like, he has to be as big as him, if not bigger. And Undertaker always gives me a purple and grayish vibe.
yeah,
He needs to have some type of color to him, like some type. And once I saw it was the red and the black with
yeah.
the mask, and the way he had the same demeanor as the Undertaker,
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, yeah, that's it, man.
Do you have like a favorite era of Cade?
The beginning of the Brothers of Destruction, where they were both going after Stone Cold. I think that came where he still had a bit of the mystery, but he had been knocking people's heads off for a few weeks by then.
Yeah,
Like the first time I saw him and the Undertaker come out together, and I remember, like, I can play that in my head, like it's that I hear JR say, "What an auspicious sight." And to see those two giants walk
yeah.
next to each other, like it was. That's why I was like, "Yeah, that's gonna be my guy for a while."
To fast forward and kind of jump out of this timeline for a bit, what were your thoughts when they kind of had their reunion against Shawn Michaels and Triple H?
I was hopeful. I was so hopeful. I was, and everybody has their opinions on it. Like it wasn't good, but for nostalgia reasons,
Yeah,
it did the trick a
it
little.
it scratched that itch. I started watching wrestling in like 2004. And that's like bald Cade, like Cade was never the guy. He was never the Undertaker, but he was there every week. He was fighting people, and you always thought that he was going to win, even though he never did. And I
Hmm.
feel like that takes a special amount of just like character work and in-ring work to like always be believable, even though you know that they're putting this person in the ring with him to get the other person over because he's like their guy that they feed new people to.
Yep. He's that meter tester. Like he's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
line.
And unfortunately, he's done some stuff as a person that makes him less fun. But I feel like that's par for the course with wrestling.
Yeah,
Um,
I like to separate wrestling
yeah,
from real life when I think about
yeah,
it.
it gets real sad real quick.
I do my best when it comes to religion and politics
Yeah,
and wrestling, and I completely oppose. But like I never let those touch,
yeah,
just because that will completely change your outlook on the person, as to where at the end of the day this is still a business, so you never
yeah,
know how that might go later on down the line.
yeah. That's something that I had to learn because, like, as a fan, it's really easy to be opinionated and kind of put your money where your mouth is. But like at the same time, I feel like wrestling has taught me that like people are more than their religion and more than their beliefs because Like there are people that like it's almost shocking when you find out like some of the stuff they believe just because of how genuine and kind they are, and it kind of like makes you think at times, like not like they're right, but it's just like how different are we as a society in some
Yep.
regards? Because
Yep.
like on both sides, there I've met people that like have surprised me in many ways.
Many ways. They say don't meet your heroes because they'll disappoint you and stuff. And I haven't really run into that too much in wrestling. I've had my things where I'm like, come on, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But for the most part, I I'm on my business, dude. Like
yeah,
I never thought that I would be able to do this in the first place.
yeah,
Uh, I'm not sure if they've told you, like, I'm not a young guy. Like, and I may look young because I'm skinny,
yeah,
but I'm not a real young guy. Like, I started wrestling pretty late,
yeah,
so I just I just want to be good, man. Like, that's what your opinion is and what other people stuff. What you do outside of that ring ain't my business.
yeah,
It's, let's just make sure that when it comes to when that bell rings or once they open the doors to that arena, we do what we're supposed to do. That's what
yeah,
counts.
yeah. I totally agree. That's something that before wrestling, I didn't necessarily have that mindset. So
Oh yeah.
something that's cool that's taught me. Um, but let's jump back into the timeline. Super big Kane fan as a kid. Um, uh, I I assumed that you were older, considering like your first memories of wrestling, unless you were like a 2-year-old kind of watching these things. But I there's a lot like O'Shea Edwards got into it late, and look at him. Like wrestling, especially now, is at a point where there's so many resources, like,
Hmm.
it's totally plausible, like, trying to think of somebody who, like, started late recently. I can't think of anybody. I know DDP is always, like, the
DDP is the go-to.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
but,
I have one. Somebody just told me one that was not too long ago, and
yeah,
I didn't know it. But yeah. I'm 32.
that's not old.
32.
That's not
It's
old.
not old, but I
Yeah,
started wrestling when I was 29.
yeah,
So it's most people start when they're like 18,
yeah,
19. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And but I've been this build, a slender guy, my entire life. So it's
yeah,
always been a year too small for the wrestling thing. And then COVID hit, and I was gonna do a wrestling podcast, and then I looked up George South's gym.
yeah.
Saw that it was 7 minutes from my house, so I
So,
decided to give it a try.
what was has it always been something that you've wanted to do, but like you said, like, people kinda told you you're too small?
Yeah, yeah. I I was that kid that was breaking every "do not try this at home" rule they threw out there. Like
Yeah,
I've been jumping off of things and doing like trying to do this stuff seriously in unprofessional ways for a long time. I never did like the backyard wrestling thing, just because I had one of those moms that was like, "I'll kill you if I find you out there wrestling like that."
yeah,
But uh, yeah, I always wanted to do this. Yeah.
yeah. So, what does your relationship with wrestling look like in that kinda gap from being a kid, and then you're 29 and now you're being a wrestler? Like, have you always, like, maintained being a fan in between those times?
I like most people, I had my times where I kind of zoned out. Like about you said you became a fan around 2004. Uh, that's about the time where I started zoning out a little.
Yeah,
Around like the John Cena, right after the ruthless aggression era and stuff like
yeah,
that. I started getting into basketball a little bit more and started doing other things. And then I'll say the I'm not even sure what year this was, but the Wyatts versus the Shield.
yeah,
I saw that build and I saw that, and that pulled me back into it.
yeah. So, what about that pulled you back in? Like,
I love factions. I love factions. I'm a big faction guy. Like I love faction warfare.
yeah,
It's awesome. The combinations, the stories that you can tell with each of the people within that is it's awesome.
what are your, like, top 5 factions in wrestling?
We gotta throw NWO and DX just because they're like Mount Rushmore factions.
Yeah,
Um, I love the Ministry of Darkness.
Yeah,
Me personally, just because even though they had their quirky ways about them, it made the Undertaker actually seem spooky again for a
yeah,
point. That it was getting quirky for a while, and then he got spooky again. He started doing
yeah.
dark things again. So DX, NWO, Ministry. Um, let's see. We'll throw some recents in there too. I love the Blackpool Combat Club.
Oh yeah.
If there was a faction out there outside of Ugly Gang that I think was for me,
Hmm?
I'd love to join the Blackpool
Yeah.
Combat Club. Um, and then this last slot always gets me, just because there was so many factions that weren't big,
Yeah.
but they served their purpose so perfectly. I got to go Nation of Domination.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Nation of Domination got to be my last slot. Just because
Definitely. Like,
it was for me as a kid, it was representation. It was
yeah.
me seeing a bunch of dudes like, oh, okay, so we can do this, and
Yeah.
they kicked ass too.
Oh
So
yeah. There's not a weak link in that group. Like Ron Simmons gets underrated, but like, dude, fucking first black world heavyweight champion. Like,
what do you
yeah,
say? Like,
yeah,
what else does he have to do?
yeah, exactly. Mark Henry, like, I I didn't know Mark Henry until he returned, but when he returned to like 2004, 2005, like, first off, the fucking 3-6 Mafia theme song, "Somebody Gonna Get Their Ass Kicked," I think is like so underrated. I think that's like one of my top five of all.
It's top 10 to me.
Yeah, yeah. But like he just comes down, he just beats the shit out of people. Um, the fucking Rock, like, yeah, dude, like, I,
Started a star, like a
yeah, yeah,
star.
yeah.
D'Lo Brown, who to me,
Lil
in my
Brown,
opinion, is one of the most underrated wrestlers
oh,
there ever. Like
yeah,
you think about that Intercontinental Championship and how it was the workhorse belt. You think about D'Lo Brown and his runs with that Intercontinental belt, and it's like
yeah.
especially when he had the plate chest. Yeah, D'Lo was different. I almost gave myself a concussion acting like D'Lo Brown as a kid.
It was like the way that he would hit that frog splash too. One of the best frog splash out there as well. Like,
To me, Eddie Guerrero is
yeah,
probably top three of my favorite wrestlers. So I'm always gonna go with his frog splash as number one.
yeah,
But D'Lo was always a competitor for me until I saw Rob Van Dam.
yeah,
Once you see that 5-star frog splash, it's like, oh come on, man.
yeah. I in my like kind of looking back on things, Rob Van Dam becomes more of like my favorite wrestler every single day.
Every day,
Like,
every day.
like so good, so underrated. Like some of the stuff that he was doing back then, like the matches that he had with like Sabu and Jerry Lynn back in ECW, like, and the dude's just like doing this all while just smoking pot nonstop. Like,
Stoned out of his
yeah.
mind.
So I've been going back and watching him a lot, and like is this dude like my favorite wrestler? I'm not sure. I think I've got him.
Funny story. I was working Starcast not too long ago, and we were in Chicago or whatnot, and we're going on our lunch break, and I'm about to go down to where the workers go to grab their lunch. They got us catering and stuff. I go down there, it's workers sitting around. Rob Van Dam is sitting down here with the workers, just smashing food, just chilling like it's nothing.
Yeah,
I'm sitting down, and you never want to be that guy to like, talk to the rush the wrestler or
yeah,
whatnot. He's down here probably just trying to get away from everybody anyway, so let's just
yeah,
let him chill. No, this man is down there just chopping it up, cracking jokes,
yeah,
talking like he's one of the workers that's there. Gets
yeah,
up, goes back to his table like nothing ever happened. Like he's what you see on TV isn't an act. He's the most chill
yeah,
guy I've ever seen.
yeah.
I had to walk away and call my wife like, dude, I just ate lunch with Rob Van Dam. Like, what's happening right now?
Yeah. That reminds me of a story that Victor Andrews told when he was on here. I think he was working like WrestleMania, like the year that Kofi won,
Mhm.
and they ended up not using him. So he's sitting in the back, and he's a very picky eater, so he was like eating like like the most kid ass meal possible. Like you don't want anybody to see you eating this, and all of a sudden Kane and the Undertaker sit down right next to him, and these are like two of his fucking idols, and he's sitting there eating like a little kid's lunch. I'm like, that
Uh,
like kind of reminded me of especially with wrestling. Like I feel like a lot of interesting interactions happen in catering.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or in the times where you don't expect it to at all, where you're
yeah,
just minding your business, thinking that nothing's gonna happen,
yeah,
and you wind up like I wound up standing next to Jake the Snake, and I mean I realized it like this guy is I didn't realize how tall he was before. This guy is
yeah,
huge. He's huge. I'm just standing there. I'm taking a break, and I noticed that a lot of people are like staring my way, and I'm wondering like what everybody's looking at. So
yeah.
like who's here? Somebody's got to be around. I turn around, and yeah, it's Jake the Snake standing right behind me, just standing there outside smoking a vape like it's nothing, just under the business.
That's amazing. To think that maybe like 20 years before that, like that same thing could have happened, but he had like a bag that like had a snake in it, and like nobody knew.
Yeah, just seeing the bag in his hand, I would have took a few steps back.
Yeah,
I'm not happy with that. He gets
yeah,
aggravated. Too many people start rushing him. He pulls the snake
yeah,
out. No, we
yeah,
don't need.
yeah. I definitely. I remember the story with Macho Man where he's like, "Oh, it's not going to bite you," and like the first thing the snake does is bite him. Um, so I would stay away. Um, so you've kind of strayed away. You come back with the Wyatt family, and then COVID hits. You're looking to do a wrestling podcast. Are you like a big fan of wrestling podcasts? Is
Yeah, I
what
am.
is
Some people get up and watch the news. I wake up in the morning and watch wrestling podcasts.
okay? What are some of your favorites? Like I'd say for me all time, like Colt Cabana, the
hmm
art of wrestling. That's kind of what like really got me into like the whole world of podcasting. But what are some of your favorites?
Uh, so I wake up. I usually listen to watch the Wrestle Talk and uh, Wrestle Talk and What Culture. Do
Yeah,
watch those a lot. And then I do the Black Wrestling Podcast. I listen to that one when I'm usually on the road. Um, yeah, mainly my main go to like I every day is Wrestle Talk.
yeah,
Wrestle Talk is like it's something about the British dudes and the way they crack
yeah.
jokes and stuff that it kind of gets to me.
What is it with British people just becoming like all of a sudden the face of wrestling on YouTube?
Have no idea.
Because
No idea.
there's What Culture, there's Cultaholic, there's Wrestle Talk, there's all.
And a few other like sub
Yeah,
miscellaneous and sub things where it's
yeah,
still
yeah.
going. Yeah.
Do you ever like watch like their like top video, like top where they like rank people and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah. And those are the ones that I had to be careful watching. Like I look at the subject on those just
Yeah,
because my opinion now as a wrestler, as to when I was just a fan,
yeah,
is very very different now because I know the dedication that some of the very simple things takes in
yeah,
this. So I see some of the news and I'm like yeah, but you got to know what goes with
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I've lost like there was one night where I couldn't sleep, and I watched a video. It was just like ranking every single TNA World Champion, and I was just like, okay, I'll watch this all like it's fucking um, the best movie at the Oscars.
I, sometimes, if I'm really into it, I won't even watch it like on a phone or device. I put it straight on the YouTube for TV.
Yeah, yeah,
It's good to see what people like, especially if I'm going to be doing this. Let's see what people are really feeling out there.
yeah, of course. And it's
Make
just
sure I'm
great
not
stuff in
for
the
myself.
background.
Yeah. So yeah, we do. I was going for the wrestling podcast, and then I thought George South's gym. He had a picture of him and Ric Flair on the front of it, of course. I was like, oh man, it's Ric Flair's gym. So I look it up, and it wasn't too far away. My first time going in, it was a JD Drake class. So I go, JD Drake is teaching the class. He shakes my hand. He asks me if I ever had training before. I'm like, no, sir. So he let me watch. Then I came to George's class that following Wednesday, and I ran the rope for the entire day until I had bruises on my back.
Amazing.
And got home, and I've never been more happy to be in pain in my life. And been doing it since.
So with George South, there's almost this lore. Like he is a human being, but it seems like there's like stories, there's legacy, there's the Bojangles, there's the Jessica Simpsons, there's the merch table. What is your first impersonation of George South?
Oh, that's a hard one. Man, George is, you probably heard them all, but the first thing that comes to mind if I'm going to do the impression is in this, when he saw me run the ropes, he, ain't nothing wrong with that at all, buddy. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, he told me like at least 17 times that same day. And listen, ain't nothing wrong with that at all. You did good. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. Don't stand
At
over
like
here. I'm happy to do it again.
at like time 10, you guys start wondering, is there something wrong? Like, why does he keep saying this? Like,
He's really reassuring me here. Am I
yeah.
wrong?
So you meet George, you run the ropes, you get home. You said it's like the best feeling that you've ever had.
Yeah,
Uh,
the best pain I've ever been in my life.
so what does that next session look like for you?
Uh, Next section, I come to class the next day. It's Caprice Coleman's first classes trainer there, and it's my
Yeah,
first day taking a bump. And he shows me that first go around, me being anxious, wanting to do it right, almost concussed myself for that first one.
yeah,
Didn't do that again, and afterwards we been pretty good. Caprice had a big hand in making sure I know how to do that the way I need to.
yeah. I I feel like you're one of the few. There are a few others that were like so lucky to like have like this rotation of like George South, like the Caleb Conleys, Caprice Coleman, JD Drakes, like get to learn so many different styles of wrestling from so many people that are doing it at high levels.
Yeah. I tell everybody that like I have buddies that see me wrestle now and they're like, "Hey man, how'd you get into it? Or what's the first step in doing that?" I tell everybody, man, like I was blessed to just jump in somewhere, and in my opinion, everybody's gonna say this about their trainer, but in my opinion, to be trained by the best guys you can be trained by,
Yeah,
and then straight from there to move over to Rob Killjoy once Hotspots closed, but to start with George South, Caprice Coleman, and JD Drake.
yeah,
It's it's like three different worlds of wrestling
yeah.
that you're getting on 3 different days of the week. That's all building you to be better.
So, have you? I'm sure you have taken a chop by JD Drake. What is that like?
The only chop I've taken for JD Drake, I know for a fact that it was probably only 20%, and it still felt like my nipple fell off. So I'm not looking forward to the day I get the full
Yeah,
flash. But yeah, my first day training was my birthday. I started on my 29th birthday,
yeah,
and he cut me a break because he said I'm gonna take it easy on me. He gave me one quick little pow, which is one
yeah,
quick pow. I can, I knowing him now, I can tell it was literally about 10-20%. He
yeah,
didn't put nothing on it. Now, I did just so happen to wrestle Rayhan not too long ago, a few weeks ago. I've been told that JD is worse than Rayhan when it comes to the chops.
yeah,
So if it's worse than Rayhan. I don't want no parts of that at all. I
yeah.
want no parts.
Some people like that though. Like some people,
It
like
wakes you up. Oh yeah,
like O'Shea Edwards says it. Like it wires you. Like gets you
it's
thrown out.
how people take smelling salts.
Yeah,
The right strike at the right time in a match, It could be like, oh yeah, we're here now. Okay, like, now we can do this.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's amazing. Um, so at the beginning of your training, did you have any idea of like what you wanted your character to be, or like what kind of wrestler you wanted to be?
No, I did. I just know that I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be made out to be a high flyer immediately. I didn't
Okay.
want to get thrown in that realm just because I was small. So I did everything in my power to work on other things other than high flying. Um, just so happened that I started getting into like New Japan and indie scene right before I started training.
Uh-huh.
Like so, I was watching that for months before I actually stepped into a ring. Um, so I right when I saw New Japan Pro Wrestling, I realized that I wanted to be considered a striker.
Yeah. Who are some of your favorite strikers?
Uh, Shinsuke Nakamura is probably in my I gotta say top two. Um, uh, uh, Minoru Suzuki's number one. I
Yeah.
say Minoru Suzuki's number one. Just because there's not a single strike that he throws that don't make you.
Yeah, look real.
It hurts. And you know it hurts.
Yeah.
So Minoru Suzuki, Shinsuke Nakamura, um, Ishii, and I feel like I'm going for a lot of Japanese guys right now. And there's some American and British strikers that really. Oh, I'm Walter. I know it's
Yeah.
just a chop, but
Yeah.
yeah, Walter is if all you need to do is throw one chop and you can
Yeah.
sit anyone in the industry down. Yeah, that's yeah.
I love his in a world where like wrestling there are finishing moves and you know that a match can't end unless there's the signature move. I love that with him. There's so many different ways that you can end a match, and that adds so many different levels to the match. So you never know when it's gonna actually end.
Which gives his opponent a better feeling in the match as well because now you don't know he may be able to take it because you don't know
Yeah,
what could be done here.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, I love where wrestling is as far as that stuff right now, which is to me is
yeah.
awesome.
I feel like wrestling takes a certain amount of suspension of belief, but like if you could add little things like that into it, I think it just makes the story even better. Did you have a chance to watch the Will Ospreay Takeshita match?
I literally right before I got on, I was about to watch it back. I was on the Willow Nightingale and what you call the match right before then. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
about to watch it back here in a few.
yeah, it's so good. I was there live, and like the way that they built it, like structured it, like they didn't go all out right away. They earned every spot that they had. It was just like,
I mean, but Osprey's been putting on like a different caliber of match.
yeah,
These you like in every to do it in different companies. Like I think that's what's going to push him up that totem pole even
yeah,
faster. Is because he's going around just putting on 5-star bangers for whoever he steps in there with.
yeah. I'm excited to see some of the matchups. Can you imagine Will Ospreay and Edge? Is it a wild world that that's a possibility?
It's we have reached the point of wrestling to where we're back at that anything is possible moment, and it's
Yeah,
truly believable that anything is possible. To
yeah,
see Ed anywhere but a WWE ring in itself still kind of bugs me out.
yeah. It's weird, for sure. But like, I love what he's doing. Just like putting guys over, and just like you don't need to tell a super like deep story. Just like let this guy come out there and work everybody he's wanted to work, and I think everybody will be happy.
I love seeing people have fun. You can tell when people are out there
Yeah,
having like real fun.
yeah. I 100% agree, and especially like to kind of take it back to what you do, like on an indie level, when you can see two guys in there having fun, like, and you're like up close with them. That's like the perfect. Like you feel like you're involved. Like that's like the next level thing. I guess we could use that as a little bit of a segue in. Um, what was your first match like? Do you remember who that was against?
Yes. So I was in a 8-man tag against High Performance, Logan Allen, Tim Hunter, and this guy named Riker. And it was at the Dallas Brewery. It's closed down now, but in Dallas, North Carolina. It was most of the wrestlers around here know those Dallas
Yeah,
Brewery people.
awesome. I can say I have no idea who any of those people are, but I don't think that's a slight on them. I think it's just
Nah,
a,
nah,
a
it's
nod to the depth of wrestling there is in North Carolina. But what was that? What was that match like when you like got to make your entrance through the crowd?
I I was nervous until literally until I touched the curtain. Once I touched the curtain and I walked out, and I like it's kind of like every to this day now. I'm 3 years in, and it's still like stepping out of self when you
Yeah,
walk through the curtain because it's all right. These people actually they actually want to see what I can do. Okay, let me. So now you step into a different person almost.
yeah.
It's almost like turning the switch on and off.
Uh, I feel like wrestling, you have the ability to like kind of control people and kind of tell a story. Um, what was the first moment that like you remember being in the ring and just being like, oh, I just made them do that?
Hmm. I'm not sure if it's the first, but the most prominent one that stands out is wrestling John Scholar. Uh, there was a point in the match to where like the crowd is really getting behind me, and then uh, I hit a super kick, and I've thrown 100 super kicks in my matches before. You know what I mean? It's something they've seen before. But I hit that super kick, and to hear the roar after that super kick, and to see John spit from the super
Yeah,
kick hitting him, and he lays out, and it's like, all right, that was a reaction. Like that was my I felt that reaction to them.
yeah,
Now they're screaming my name now. Like it's my first time seeing us pull the crowd.
yeah. I know you mentioned basketball earlier. How big of a difference is it from like, let's say, like hitting a shot in the crowd cheering than to like being in a wrestling ring and like having that following behind you?
So the difference to me is when you hit, say if you were to hit a shot in a basketball court, you know that this as soon as that ball goes through the hoop and the other team touches the ball, that moment is over.
Yeah,
It's done. It's you got to hurry up, get back on defense because somebody's trying to get that same thing you just did that fast. In wrestling, once you get that moment, and you feel them up. It's there, like it's still roaring as you're going.
yeah,
So now it makes you go like it makes your adrenaline pump too. One thing I like to do is whenever I'm really in the zone, I find somebody, I don't care who, somebody in that first couple rows there. And once we make eye contact and I see them into it,
yeah,
I'm going to pump up right with them
yeah,
so they know I feel that too. You know what I mean? It's a longer moment than in basketball.
yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Um, at what moment do you feel like the you finally like found your character, your voice in wrestling?
In all honesty, there's still some things that I'm tweaking a bit with myself just because I mean I'm 3 years in, but I'm still fairly to me 3 years in wrestling 3 years is still fairly new.
Yeah,
But I would say I started really finding myself thanks to Rayhan. Rayhan is really like I call him my OG for a reason. Like he really has helped me figure out my place in wrestling a little bit better. Um, Other than Rayhan, I say Jordan Holt has been probably the most pivotal piece to my wrestling career. As far as wrestling him in the ring, we probably have the best chemistry out of anybody. I got some good chemistry with a few people, but when me and Jordan get in the ring, I know there's going to be magic. Teaming with him, it's just flow, and you can see it in the ring.
Yeah.
It's our name, hustle and flow. Like we just click.
Yeah.
And outside of the ring, uh, Jordan looks out for me when I'm not. He's one of those people that looks out for you when you're not even paying attention.
Yeah.
He's gotten me so many opportunities that he didn't have to do, just because he had he had confidence in me that I could handle the moment. So I would say those two is not just because those are like my faction mates or anything. Is in real life, those two have. If not, I don't think I would still be wrestling if it weren't for those two.
Yeah. What was your like introductory story to both of them? Like, how did you guys meet?
So with Jordan, my first day at training, I walk in, and I see Jordan at training, and immediately I can tell, all right, that's going to be the guy that they keep putting me with. He's
Yeah.
closest to my size. We kind of similar. I'm a little bit taller, and I'm a little bit smaller in weight, but we're very similar. And lo and behold, as soon as I was able to start moving around, me and Jordan were doing everything. I think I met Rayhan probably my second or third training, and again, I remember he saw me do a leapfrog, and I remember him see me do the leapfrog, and I saw him go like this, like, oh, not bad.
Yeah.
So I started talking to him about my favorite things in wrestling and what I'm thinking about trying to do. And at the time, he was still doing the Montana. He was still in his Montana Black mode.
Yeah.
Um, and I've always had a thing like Kane being my favorite wrestler. I've
Yeah.
always had a thing for darker characters. So just talking to him about stuff like that and trying to build out a character, he helped me come up with the nickname and stuff. Um, yeah. So then after that, he became more of like a mentor type thing.
Yeah.
And then he came to me with the idea about starting the Ugly Gang, and since then, he been keeping us on track.
So for those who don't know, um, who is the Slim Reaper? I keep saying Reefer earlier. And what is the Ugly Gang?
So the Slim Reaper is uh, a undersized but an over attitude. I'm the hot temper of the group. Um, the Ugly Gang is going to be the most talked about movement. I won't even say faction or team. We're going to be the most talked about movement that you hear of for a very long time before. Um, this is the Other Gang is something where it's for the people who feel it but can't see it yet. It's for the people that belong but don't feel like they do. Like this group is like I said, it's a movement. It's more of a movement than a faction.
I love that. And I feel like Rayhan is doing something that not a lot of people are doing. I think Buddha does it. Uh, but just the way that he tells his stories
Hmm.
is incredible.
It makes it hard for me to think about good stuff sometimes because now I'm like I gotta wait to see what this guy does
Yeah.
because no way I'm putting nothing up against that right now. Is that man is he's and you see these videos and that's Rayhan. Like that's
Yeah.
that's Rayhan. Like it's not an act. He's not putting on the camera and turning into something else. That's Rayhan.
Yeah.
That's who he is.
Do you have
It's
a
so hard not to laugh at him
yeah.
for 90% of the time, but at the same time, he'll rip your freaking face off. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
The big motherfucker who'll get in the ring.
It's solid muscle now. He went
Yeah.
from big chunky
Yeah.
Montana Black to now he's solid muscle of
Yeah.
Rayhan.
What's your favorite promo that you think he's done?
Chase Henry.
Yeah.
Easy. Easy. I think that is going to be a Carolina classic for years to come.
Yeah. I
Just
just remember
nobody was expecting. Nobody was ready for that one.
no, like I feel like that made that match a must-see match. Like it was a pay-per-view match. Like, oh, I got to see this MJF match. Just like, oh, this fucking match. Like, just the way that he effortlessly, like Like, I don't know how much of that is planned or how much of that is just him talking, but like master level of just like wit, and funny and serious. Like, I don't know.
Most
I
of
mean,
it is just him doing stuff. Him just doing stuff, seeing if it works. A lot of the times, he'll have that stuff for so long because he doesn't know if he likes it or not, just because
yeah,
it's just him doing things. I'd be like, bro, this is gold. What are you doing? But yeah, the guys. There's some people in this wrestling industry that being a fan or outsider you would never know of, but now being a wrestler, I know that they're pure geniuses. Rayhan is a genius.
yeah,
Genius.
he gets it. We had a very long conversation with him about Kane. Is that something that you guys bond over?
About say what?
Oh, Kane.
Oh yeah. That was our main. That was our first conversation we had. That was the link. That was the link. That was
Yeah,
the yeah. Okay, now I see what you're going for. Like
yeah,
he's
yeah,
big. It's easy for him to
yeah.
like impersonate Kane, but for me, he's just talking to me about like ways that he's seen other people use it and stuff. It's yeah. That was our first original bomb.
That's awesome. Yeah, we talked to him for like I feel like a majority of his episode about Cade, and it was great. I could talk about Cade all day. Do you have a favorite Cade match?
I would say this might be controversial just because I wouldn't say it was like a dope match to see. But again, Kane don't put on 5-star matches anyway. But the match with him and X Pac with the Tory story behind it,
Uh-huh.
finally got his hands on X Pac. Yeah, that was. I think that was my first time where I was extra rooting for Kane behind that one.
Yeah. Uh, he's had so many different like career switches though too. Like you've got corporate Cade, you've got Team Hell No. Like just the ability to reinvent himself is
Crazy, and that's one of the things that I hope that I'm able to do throughout my career. Is I'm able to keep remaking myself to keep cool
yeah,
things because I know for a fact that to keep getting hit as hard as I get hit and throwing them back that as hard as I throw them at
yeah,
people, that ain't gonna last too much more longer. So we're gonna have to start getting into something
yeah.
more creative.
So you're 3 years in. What are some of the favorite moments that you've had so far in wrestling?
Um, some of my favorite moments, me versus Drew Hood for the Carolinas title. I didn't come out with the win, but that was one of those things where I got to the back and I was like, yeah, like I got home and it was like, man, I'm a wrestler. Like
Yeah,
I'm a wrestler, dude. Like I'm really a wrestler. The John Scholar match is probably up there, up there. I wrestled Lodi. Wrestling Lodi was a big one. And of course, winning that bad boy right there. That was. I've been working for that one for some years, a
yeah.
couple years. So getting my hands on that felt really really good.
Was that your first title win?
Uh, Not my first title win, but because I had won me and Jordan won the ACCW tag team titles
Yeah.
before that. That was my first big title win.
Was that your first solo?
Yeah. This was my first solo one, first solo
What was,
big one. Yeah.
what was that moment like for you when you won? Did you know going in?
Uh, yeah. Well, kinda. I had a feeling because I could tell the way we were telling the story. But winning it, it was a, it was all right. Yeah, I'm finally. You know what I mean? Finally, I want to be one of those champions where once I get done holding this title, when somebody finally takes it off me, for the next few years, they're gonna look at this title and think, "Oh yeah, that's the Zay Vega title."
Yeah. What are some of your favorite defenses that you've had?
Right now, guy named Jet Morris. Not sure if you're aware of Jet Morris. Wrestles down there, mainly in South Carolina. Me and Jet has put on some good matches for NAWA. Uh, let's see. I was supposed to wrestle Buggy Wright for it, but I got COVID that week. So
Yeah.
yeah, defended against Jet Morris. Um, yeah, and I wrestled Jet I think twice. Yeah, wrestled Jet twice. Um, and then I recently just lost the XWW Hardcore title. I've held that twice.
Yeah.
Wrestling Thomas Extreme. Thomas Extreme is probably one of my favorite opponents out there. Like the guy is so good, and he's one of those people where you know he's never going to get the proper flowers, but the guy is so good.
Yeah.
He's so good.
What is it like in that hardcore environment? Because I watched a couple of those matches and you watched tables and chairs and doors.
um, you get through those moments, and like you're working through the match, and it's to me, I have the most fun there, just because a lot of that stuff is just you don't have to worry about the moves and the catching and all that. It's pure. Oh, I heard somebody in the crowd say, "Hit him with the cookie sheet." Okay, give me the
Yeah.
cookie sheet. Bang! We hit him with the cookie sheet. It's more interactive. It's more fun, but at the same time, I go home so sore after those matches. Like I just took an elbow drop through a table
Oof.
while I was taped up, like tied
Yeah. Yeah.
from Thomas Extreme, and my back and neck haven't been the same since. But on on April 6th, I'm gonna step back in there with Thomas Extreme again, and it's another hardcore match, just because it's one of those things. It's
Yeah.
the adrenaline rush.
Yeah. Uh, I've wondered cookie sheets. Do they hurt? Because
Yes.
they. Okay.
Yeah, I know that it could be worse. Don't get me wrong. It
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
worse. A chair is 10 times worse. But those things are soft. Like
Yeah.
they don't. You catch the corner of one of those, or like towards the edge of it, where
Yeah.
it stiffens out a little bit, and you might as well be getting hit in the head with a pole.
Yeah. Because sometimes like it's just like okay, cookie sheets make a cool sound. They'll break easily, but they like oh that must be safe or it must be kind of easy. But yeah, to hear that it's not. Yeah.
The bigger the cookie sheet gets, the more it's gonna hurt, because now that's more metal or like
Yeah.
more that material that's on there. The smaller ones, you could. Don't get me wrong. You take the right hit with the smaller ones, it'll make your teeth click.
Yeah.
But the bigger cookie sheets, the ones that you usually see at like the XWW shows, yeah, those things are pretty much daggone metal, and
Yeah.
they hurt. They hurt.
Do you have a favorite weapon to use?
It's a tie between a crutch and a kendo stick. It's a tie. Both of them. I feel like once I get those in my hands, somebody in trouble. I used the crutch from under the ring last Friday, and then got out in the crowd and saw a guy who was like on a crutch, and traded him the crutch, like traded him the crutches, just used
Yeah.
his crutch. So, like it's some of the crutches and kendo sticks because it's the noise, of course. Like
Yeah.
you can hear that one because I can swing that, but a crutch, yeah.
It's amazing. I always love the image of picturing the promoters like the day of just a Home Depot, just like buying tables, doors, like all of this random shit. And like somebody sees it, they're like, I know, but everybody else is like, what the fuck is going on?
People checking them out, dude.
uh, but yeah, that does sound a lot of fun. So you've got the titles now. You're looking to win it back, but long term, what are you looking to get out of wrestling?
um, I know everybody's usual thing is like, oh, I want to go to WWE or I want to go to this place or that place. I would love to be able to get the opportunity to do those things. Um, Me personally, I want to. I just want to be able to like take care of myself and take care of my family while doing this. I
Yeah.
want to make this my full blown only profession.
Yeah.
If I had to aspire for something larger, I want to wrestle in Japan. Like that's my big goal. Whether it's Noah, New Japan, All Japan, I want to wrestle in Japan.
Yeah. Do you have any like dream opponents that you want to like be able to say that you wrestled before you hit any boots?
Um, Swerve Strickland, uh, Caprice Coleman, um, Darius Lockhart, Jay Malachi is a star now, so that one's.
Yeah.
But Jackson Drake and because there's a few, and I've been blessed to be able to like I've been getting some dream matches thrown my way
Yeah.
recently, so I got to be careful with what I thought. Oh, I mean, I've been putting this one out there low key, but I'm gonna say it on a big network now because hopefully I can manifest it.
Yeah.
Tim, want to wrestle Tim?
That'd be great.
Yeah, Tim is. I would say as far as like between things that I think I can pull off, Tim and Darius Lockhart probably 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and then this Caprice Coleman just because that to wrestle my mentor would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's so like, as far as wrestling goes, like I know he gets overshadowed a little bit because he's like doing Ring of Honor and AEW and stuff like that, but he's so good.
that man. I don't understand how the world doesn't see him yet. Like
Yeah.
in his charisma, his,
Yeah.
his in-ring ability, the shape he keeps himself in,
Yeah.
um, the amount of motivation he gives, not even just his students, anybody in the locker room, like the man that he is. The fact that he's not a star is one of those things where it is you know that in another lifetime that man is the biggest
Yeah.
wrestler. He's the Rock in another universe somewhere.
Oh yeah. I had the privilege of seeing him wrestle JTG at a Let Wrestling Live show.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah, it just like the match was great. He was just talking shit the entire time, and it was so perfect.
He's his charisma is so different just because he got that old school twang to
Yeah.
it, but at the same time, he'll do a quick 1-2 kick boom. You like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, wait a minute. And then you hear how old this guy is and how you see how good he keeps his self in shape and how much he takes care of his body. And you're like, bro, this guy is a star, man. He's a star, dude.
Hopefully, he gets a chance to show that. But I know he's definitely made an impact on so many people that are going to carry on that legacy for him. And now his son's wrestling. I know that's got to be really cool for him too.
Yeah,
So
that's one where I can't wait to get that match as well.
yeah,
Just 'cause it's he's so much like his dad too. Like he's so nice. Like the
yeah,
kid is nice. He's nice.
yeah. Amazing. Well, this has been great. I want to end on just kind of how we always end. But who are some wrestlers that you think more people need to know about?
More people need to know about. Number one, Jordan Holt. If you don't know who Jordan Holt is and you actually like wrestling, you have been under a rock. The guy's a star. Probably my most underrated wrestler, Rob Killjoy.
Uh,
Uh, Another one where I don't understand why this guy isn't on somebody's television every week. Um, Dante Khalifa. Uh, that's another one. If you haven't heard him yet, trust me, that one
yeah,
is
yeah,
Dante's nice. Um, Channing Melton. That's see, Channing Melton is he's starting to make his name up a little bit as well. So yeah, is there's a few guys out there that I think, and I mean, you know me, I'm not on the highest level just yet, so
Yeah.
I can really speak for the people that I see out there busting their tails every weekend at these shows. Oh, special mention to uh, James Johnson and Drew Hood.
Oh yeah.
Uh, James Johnson is the one person that I will openly tell anybody is a better striker than me. Uh, the man's Unk's got hands.
Yeah.
And Drew Hood, we probably only gonna see him for a few more months, and this man's gonna be somebody's gonna snatch him up. I don't know who, I don't know when, but yeah, that guy's gonna be out of there. I
He
feel like
deserves
I'm
it too.
getting one big one.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, Cam Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Cam Jackson is, I think, the most underrated entertainer.
Yeah.
Not even in this area, in this industry. The most entertaining wrestler I think I've stepped in the ring with and I've seen wrestle on every, just to bring it back to back on every show. You know,
Yeah.
once you hear that first initial key in his song and you hear that me and no damn, you know it's about to be an
Yeah.
entertainment. But yeah. Those are my go out there and look for them if you can.
Yeah. Kim Jackson, Ray Hanateas, two really fucking funny people as well.
Now when they're in the same room, do you know how hard it is to just sit down in the same place and just let people talk with them two in the
Yeah.
same room?
I
Like,
bet. They need a podcast. You guys need to I'll end on one question. What was your wrestling podcast going to be about?
I was gonna do news and like reviews. I was gonna do more news and reviews, just the stuff that I'm picking up on, pretty much the things that you're already gonna see on the big stuff, but
Yeah.
more focused on reviews of how I felt about pay-per-views and stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. Sorry it took so long to get you on here. Um, but where can everybody find you? Where can everybody see you wrestle upcoming? Um,
Yeah. Look me up mainly on Facebook, Zay Vega. Again, the Instagram is Zay Vega underscore UG57. Um, this weekend, you can catch me in Chester, South Carolina. Ugly Gang debut. We will be facing TJ Boss with the fat neck, Zuka King with the dry lip, and JAC with the nappy hair.
yeah,
So come on out and see that. And then next week, the week after that, you can catch me in Boiling Springs on Friday. I will be wrestling Justin Kindred Allen. Justin Kindred Allen. Let me make sure I get that right because now he's in Allen. He's added the Allen on the end. Uh, in a Speedo because he wears Speedos. And then April 6th is me and Thomas Extreme and Matthews at the Cruise Rec for the XWW Hardcore title. We're
also
going for 3.
go for a 3 feet. Well, I wish you luck at all of those. If you are close to Raleigh, please book Zay Vega, Jordan Holt, Ray Mateus, Cam Jackson. Like this side of the state is like it's a 2 hour drive, but like sorely missing you guys over here. So uh, definitely hope to see you guys spread out North Carolina, spread out in the East Coast, spread out in the world. Love to see you in Japan. But thanks so much for taking the time tonight. And yeah, it's been great.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.